If you are wondering if Scottsdale is really worth it, I have a list. Because it's not always fantastic, and I am going to be brutally honest about the good and the bad. So without further ado, let's jump into this list. But if you feel like I've missed anything, make sure you write it down in the comments below. Okay, so I think this is something that is talked about most often when people are thinking about moving to Scottsdale, and that's our outdoor activities and our weather. Scottsdale is celebrated for its ideal climate and its abundance of sunshine. I mean, we get about 300 days of sunshine every year, and this makes it heaven for outdoor enthusiasts. People that live here often love to be outside, either hiking, biking, golfing, boating, yes, I said boating, or anything else that they can do when the weather's perfect. And they love to do all of this while being surrounded by the beautiful desert landscape. Now, let's talk a little bit more about the weather because it's gonna come up again. But for now, we're gonna focus on why so many people come here when they do. From November to March, the average highs in Scottsdale is about 72 degrees, making it one of the best places in America to enjoy the outdoors. Temperatures average about 85 degrees between April and October, which for me is a little bit more of a perfect temperature. Something I know that people love about living in Scottsdale is the ability to eat outside almost all year round and during any time of the day. This is something that many can't do where they come from, either purely because of the temperature or the bugs. Not here. It's also during these times that we have some of our biggest events for the whole year. And it's oftentimes how people find out how great Scottsdale is. They come to one of those events first. We have the Barrett-Jackson Car Auction, the Arabian Horse Show, the Phoenix Open, spring training, art walks, festivals, and so much more. Now, I have not even talked yet about all of our professional sports teams. Now, I know these aren't directly in Scottsdale, but it is a draw for people when they're looking at coming here, are the plethora of professional sports teams that we have. Because we not only have professional baseball, professional football, professional basketball, and professional hockey, we also have a professional indoor arena football team and a professional women's basketball team. So whether you're a casual observer or a die-hard fan, you can always see a sporting event at one of the many arenas across the city. We also have numerous clubs and restaurants, some of which are run by James Beard Award winners or semifinalists. You can also visit the McDowell-Sonoran Preserve, a stunning desert habitat with miles of hiking and biking trails, see a show at the Scottsdale Performing Arts Center, and walk around Old Town Scottsdale, which is filled with historic buildings and art galleries. Now, something I hear about often when people visit Scottsdale is how clean and well-maintained the city is. Now, it's funny because my father-in-law was a city planner, and he looked at every city through a different lens. And he was actually the one that brought to my attention that we have no billboards on the 101 freeway in Scottsdale. Something else that he loved about the city of Scottsdale was all of the artwork that they have on the freeways. This is really unique for the city, and it was things like this that really impressed him about the city. But I did not just hear these things from my father-in-law. I would hear it from other people as they came to visit. The city is known for its attention to detail, its maintenance, and its cleanliness. This includes the well-kept parks with no graffiti and the general upscale vibe to the entire city. You will find lots of sidewalks through manicured landscape with neighbors that are actually out walking or biking using these paths. Something else that many that move here take great time in looking into is our healthcare system, and we have multiple quality options here. Scottsdale has several well-known healthcare institutions. They include 2 different Mayo Clinic campuses, which are rated as Arizona's top hospital with patient care. We have the Banner Behavioral Health Hospital and multiple Honor Health hospitals, as well as multiple different highly sought-after specialists for just about anything that you would need. Now, if you are looking for a more holistic approach to your healthcare, we have you covered there too. Now, if you have kids, you'll likely be looking into our education, which we have a strong system. Scottsdale has 31 public schools and a great reputation. The public schools in this area consistently rank among the nation's best, and the reading and math among the students is well above the nation's average. Within the public school system, you also have a few options if you're looking for a more traditional-based style of learning and teaching. Then you have all the charter and the private schools, like Basis and Great Hearts, as well as Scottsdale Christian Academy and Notre Dame Prep. And if you're looking for a great community college, Scottsdale Community College wins awards for their education every year. Something you have to know when you're moving to Scottsdale when it comes to schools is that we have open enrollment. So if you're looking for homes in one area and maybe the school within that district is not the school that you feel is going to be best for your kids, you have the ability to take them to a school outside of that district as long as there's space available. You would just need to apply during open enrollment to get them enrolled. Now, when I talk to parents when they're moving here, this open enrollment can feel really overwhelming because there are so many options. But what I have found over time is that once the parents kind of lean into that, they feel that it is the best option for them because they have the ability to move their kids around until they find the right fit for each one of their kids. And yes, I know some parents that have had 3 different kids going to 3 different schools, but they loved it because each one of their kids was allowed to thrive in their own perfect environment. Scottsdale also has a really strong job market, especially in the sectors like finance, tech, tourism, insurance, and healthcare. These are some of the major employers here in Scottsdale, and most of them are all high-paying jobs. Some of the companies that are the major employers here in Scottsdale include Vanguard, Honor Health, and the Scottsdale Unified School District. The Phoenix area as a whole has brought a lot of tech jobs into the job sector over the last few years. So much so that many people have started to call us the Silicon Desert. What I have found is that many of these tech companies that have come in the last few years have been moved here by their owners because maybe the business environment in the state where they were originally located was not very business friendly. So they moved their entire company to Scottsdale and found a more friendly environment. What's been great for Scottsdale and Arizona really as a whole because of this is the amount of high-paying jobs that it has brought to our state. Now, some of the people that have moved to Scottsdale over the past few years have been able to still work for the company that they worked for in another state, but be able to work remotely indefinitely. And those people did that purely because they wanted the lifestyle of Scottsdale. Now, taxes always come up as well whenever I'm talking to people that are looking at moving here. And when I start telling them what their property taxes are going to be, I get a lot of this. That's it? So while you're living in Scottsdale, you will not have to worry about a big income tax burden as well. The state's income tax is 2.5%, which is relatively low compared to the national average. Additionally, you won't be taxed anything additional from your Social Security earnings. We also don't have a state tax in Scottsdale. I had clients that moved here last year from Delaware. When I shared this with them, they were very excited. Okay, so remember when I said we would get back to the weather? Let's talk about it here and be honest. During the summer, it can feel like you are living on the sun. I am often asked by people that have never experienced our summer here, and they say to me, is it really as hot as they say? To which I say, an emphatic yes, it is really that hot. Go into your bathroom, make sure your blow dryer heat setting is set all the way to hot, turn it on, and blast it in your face. That's kind of what it feels like. Although we don't have that much wind. We can experience multiple days of 110-degree heat here. And sometimes it's over 115 or 120 degrees. And when it happens, it's brutal. I am not going to sugarcoat it. So why do people live here if it is that bad? Well, many people come from those frozen tundra areas. And when I talk to them about it and I say, how you doing in the summer? They say, I will take this over our frozen winter every day. Just know that if you stay in town over the summer, you will probably need to get away at least once, maybe twice, just to take a break from the heat. Something else you need to know is that Scottsdale's public transportation system is really limited, and it is not as developed as some other cities. Now, no other city in and around Phoenix, but maybe the city that you're thinking about coming from. And if you're somebody that is used to depending on public transportation, you should know that it is going to be very hard in Scottsdale. This means you will need a car. When you look at the city of Scottsdale, and Phoenix for that matter, we have what's called urban sprawl. Our cities are really big and sprawled out and really kind of merge into one another. Now we do have Uber and Lyft, but if you use this on a daily basis, it could get quite expensive because it's not even really that you could call them once and have them drop you off where you need to be in the morning. And then you could use public transportation right around where you were because you're going to need to drive from place to place to place. Things just aren't that close together here. So you will need to factor that in when you're thinking about your overall cost of living. And speaking about the cost of living here in Scottsdale is above the national average, and housing is a significant chunk of that. The average single-family home that sold in the last 6 months in Scottsdale sold for $1.4 million. And the average single-family home available for sale right now is $2.4 million. Now, I'm going to add a caveat to that last number that I gave you because we are in what we consider our season right now, which means that a lot of luxury homes come on the market. And currently there are over 7 homes listed at $20 million plus in the Scottsdale area, which is really going to skew that for sale number. If you are looking for a home in Scottsdale around $1 million, you can still find them. In fact, if you're looking for a home in Scottsdale around 700 or 800,000, you can still find those as well. Overall, the location is going to play a big role in what the cost of the home is going to be. For the cost of living, the other areas where we are more expensive than the national average are our groceries and our healthcare. But our utilities and our transportation are lower than the national average. Something else that you've got to get used to if you're going to live here is our desert wildlife. We can encounter animals like coyotes, bobcats, rattlesnakes, scorpions, javelinas, and tarantulas. Now, these are not all coming for you on a daily basis. And it's going to depend on where you live in Scottsdale as to how often you might see these animals. If you're living in North Scottsdale, this is where you're going to see more of these animals. This is where I live, and I can say that I have seen each and every one of those animals that I just mentioned. Now, I've been here for 22 years, and I can count on one hand the number of times that I've seen each one of those animals. Okay, maybe I need one hand and a couple fingers just for a couple of them. Now, if you've never seen a javelina, this is right behind my house. I am standing in my backyard, and this javelina is in the wash that is right behind my house. But this is something that we love about living in North Scottsdale. But for some of you, this might be a no-go. So you just have to know what you're getting into. It is also important to be mindful of these animals if you have pets, because as much as these animals are afraid of us, they can get aggressive around your pets. And if you have an outside cat wherever it is that you live and you move to North Scottsdale, you now have an inside cat. Trust me on this one. So remember all those months that I was telling you about where the weather was absolutely beautiful and we have all these great events? Well, for those of us that live here, this is when we have kind of a love-hate relationship with the city. We love all the things to do and we love that they're in our backyard. But Scottsdale also attracts a lot of tourists, which leads to increased traffic congestion, longer wait lines, and longer waiting at places like restaurants and other attractions. This is the time of year you hear people call it snowbird season, which means all those people who live in snowy parts of the country come here to get out of said snow. During this time of year, when you're driving around, you might even see more license plates from out of the state than in the state. This can be challenging when you're dealing with the traffic. But as I have said from my other videos, I'm from Southern California. And even when the traffic gets heavy here, it is nothing compared to like what I grew up in. But if you are from a smaller city or a smaller town, this might feel excessive to you. Now, if you'd like to learn more about what it's like to live in North Scottsdale, make sure you look at this video. But if you'd like to learn more about what it's like to live in South Scottsdale, make sure you take a look at this video. As always, I thank you for watching, and I'll see you next time.